Good morning, everybody. No time for hair and makeup today, so looking a little disheveled at the moment. Let's jump into Viking. 13-week oral data released today. Market's not happy. We're down 43%, and the big question, of course, is why. Efficacy, how the drug worked, how it did, actually performed pretty good. I would argue nothing wrong with efficacy. What analysts were expecting were right in line, but discontinuation rates, huge concern. I don't think any kids are watching. What the fuck happened? What happened? Absolutely dismal. I think it was 38% discontinuation rates. Huge discontinuation rates on placebo as well. On the analyst call, Brian, the CEO, chalked it up to higher reporting rates because people are aware of GLP-1s. Everyone and their mother essentially either on a GLP-1 or know somebody on a GLP-1, and they know the adverse events related to them, and therefore people are more likely to be highly sensitive to them and report them. Yeah, okay, fine, cool, I'm down, but that doesn't explain why you stopped taking the drug, right? You're a little nauseous, sure, you report it, that's fine. Nobody is complaining, at least I don't believe so. I certainly am not, at the level of reporting incidents. What the market seems to be upset about or worried about are the people that got off the study. So that's the quick what the hell is going on. As for what are the next steps, it seems like the market's just written off the oral. Quick recap. We're sitting at like a $2.3 billion market cap at the moment. Let's not forget that Viking is in the middle of a phase 3 for their injectable. That means they're going to hit, well, it's a 72-week. So call it in the next 2 years. I know that sounds like a really long time because it kind of is. They'll have a drug hitting the market, assuming approval. It'll get approved, assuming approval, which is huge. So I'm going to try and not repeat things that I've already said in my past videos about, obviously Eli and Novo are the two dominant players. We're just waiting for a third and fourth entrant. Viking will likely be the third or fourth entrant to the injectable dance. And that's still a multi-billion dollar a year market opportunity, I would argue. Therefore, I personally am choosing to hold. That's also because my cost basis is good. So I'm playing the hold game. I don't know what other people's positions are. However, I feel like selling on the oral data is a little excessive, especially the drawdown that we're seeing today. If you want to recap on Viking, go back, watch the first video I made. Pretty much all of it is still relevant and still valid, with the exception of the oral data. Now we have the 13-week oral data, and frankly speaking, I'm trying not to be redundant. It was a little uninspiring, only insofar as the discontinuation rates, which is a big deal, but the efficacy was spot on. So again, in the analyst call, I'll drop a link for it for people to go and listen to on their own. But ultimately, the CEO is hitting home the point that they will likely titrate a little more slowly moving forward. That could make a huge difference, because as of right now, they just ran into the whole thing, which certainly had an impact. I believe slower titration will make a difference. But one other thing that's important that we don't know is that the market really got excited with the phase 2 injectable data because they were able to jump immediately to a phase 3. We don't know if that's going to be the same thing with the oral. So ultimately, there are a lot of unknowns. Wall Street doesn't like unknowns, especially when it comes to biotech. So I would just encourage everyone to focus on what we know. That is cash on hand, how far along they are in their phase 3 for the injectable, and what the overall GLP-1 market looks like. I would say that Viking is still a very palatable asset. Obviously, this isn't a buy recommendation because I don't know your situation, investment advice, blah, blah, blah. Do your own research, all the necessary caveats so you don't just jump into it. But from my perspective, I will say that, is it undervalued? I wouldn't say undervalued. Today's data, again, less than ideal, but a worth thinking about, worth considering, certainly. Phase 3 injectable that up to this point has shown solid data in the phase 2. Yeah, that's something to get excited about. And the upside from here is really this. They come out, Viking comes out with a surprise announcement and says, oh, hey guys, we're going into phase 3 for the oral. We're not redoing a phase 2. That's going to be huge. They go through and maybe they find like a contaminant in the study. I'm not saying that exists. I'm just saying it's weird that the placebo had such high discontinuation rates. And then the phase 3 data is super great, assuming they jump to the phase 3 on the oral. So I'll just reiterate a couple of points that the CEO said on the call, not to be a parrot for him or a mouthpiece for the company, but the oral market is still very new. Nobody has an oral. Lilly is very close to having one. The orpho data that they came back out with, reiterated a few weeks ago, wasn't that exciting. He didn't say that. These are my words. And back to what he was saying, there's just opportunity. There's opportunity. So dive in, do your research. That's the quick and dirty of what happened. Over the coming weeks, we hit a little lower than I thought we would today. I thought we would kind of cap out at about $25, down 40%. Last I checked, we were down, 43, 44% at about 23 and some change. Yeah, we're going to be range bound. That's what I'm trying to get at. We'll be range bound. I'm going to guess between $18 and $27, $18 and $30. I hate putting price targets out there because you look like a schmuck when they're wrong. For a bit. That's just gonna, I think, be the game. Viking will be putting out little phase 3 nuggets on the injectable as time goes. I believe that will provide some upside. Obesity week, they might provide a little more clarity and data on the oral that they just released, but I can't imagine any significant upside from what we have related to the oral. Yeah, so the what to do, like I said, I'm holding. If there's an entry point that looks really good, I'll probably do a video and talk to people about valuation, but just want to give a heads up what the hell happened, why it happened, what to expect, what Wall Street was expecting. Again, we matched efficacy. The efficacy really couldn't have been better, but the discontinuations and it just was not in the cards. Okay, have any questions, drop them. I'm around to answer them. Peace.